We're just over a month away from the OHL trade deadline, so I think we're going to start to see more reports that feel like they come out of left field, or maybe they're just rumors, speculation. But last night, it came out on the Daily Faceoff with Jeff Marek that Boston University is interested in Michael Misa. Now, of course, Misa plays for the Saginaw Spirit, and he leads the Ontario Hockey League in scoring. It's his draft year. He's expected to go top 5 in the 2025 NHL draft, so no surprise that schools would want to pursue the very talented forward from Saginaw, but it does add an interesting dynamic at this point in the OHL regular season. Now, nothing has been confirmed. We haven't heard Michael Misa say anything in regards to it, and this is all coming as the NCAA, they had their vote last month, allowing CHL players to play at the NCAA level. So this is a fascinating topic, because with this in mind, do OHL teams now kind of second guess what they do leading up to the OHL trade deadline, especially with the talents that Michael Misa possesses? Personally, I don't think he'll end up playing for Boston University next year. If he does, in fact, go top 5, I kind of would lean towards him signing an NHL deal and then playing at the National Hockey League level, at least to start next season. That's typically what we see with first-round picks that go in the top 5, top 10 even. So I don't know if there's a lot to maybe panic over in regards to a report such as this, because I don't think it's going to be a surprise that a lot of NCAA universities are going to look at OHL talent to potentially bring them on board, maybe as soon as they're 18 or 19. But it does make it fascinating for Saginaw, because this is a team that they won the Memorial Cup last year. They spent a ton of draft picks, and well, they kind of need to recoup something if they want to have a future where they're going to be competitive year in and year out. And the Saginaw Spirit, of course, they got off to that hot start. Right now, middle of the pack in the Western Conference standings. They sit 5th with a record of 14-11-1. They're the highest scoring team right now in the OHL with 118 goals for. They've given up 94, so that's a little on the higher side, but kind of in the middle of the pack. But they have the most penalty minutes right now in the Ontario Hockey League with 428. Discipline has been an issue of late, so that's why I'm kind of wondering, would the Saginaw Spirit look towards a soft sell? And if these rumors kind of percolate here, would Saginaw consider a move of Michael Misa? Let's dig a little bit deeper into this, because for the Saginaw Spirit, they've had a very good season if you look at their record, but when you break it down, they seem to be having more success against the teams that are lower than them in the standings. So let's break it down from their division. Right now, they have a record of 4-0 against the Sarnia Sting. They're a team towards the bottom. The Flint Firebirds, who had a slow start, they have a 3-0 record against their Michigan rivals. For the Sioux Greyhounds, 1-2. They do play Sault Ste. Marie tonight at the time of recording, so we'll see what the record is tomorrow. And then the Windsor Spitfires, who are at the top, they have a record of 1-1-1, so it's actually not too bad when they play against a team in the West Division. They have a record of 9-3-1. Now, it's a different story when you look at the Midwest Division. Against the London Knights, Saginaw right now, they are 1-2. They're 0-2 against the Kitchener Rangers, so there's the 2 top teams in the division. The Erie Otters, they're 1-1, but the Owen Sound Attack, who have been a team that's also been struggling, 2-0, although one of those wins was the result of a shootout, and they still have not yet played the Guelph Storm. So their Midwest Division record right now, 4-5. And then when you look at their opponents from the Eastern Conference, they've only played 4 games against a team from the East, but they have a record of 1-3. And one of those losses was against the Peterborough Petes. In fact, that was the first win of the regular season for Peterborough after they dropped their first 15 games of the regular season. So their record, it's a winning record right now, but there's some question marks about consistency with this Saginaw Spirit team. I'm not saying they're a bad team. I think this is a great team. They've got some great talent up front. They do have that Memorial Cup experience. Michael Misa right now leading the Ontario Hockey League in points and goals. 25 goals, 24 assists, good for 49 points. Christian Epperson, he's had a great season for Saginaw. He's second in team scoring with 34 points. Joey Willis, who's been named to the Team USA preliminary roster for the World Juniors. He's third in team scoring with 32 points in just 23 games. Zane Parekh, the very dynamic defenseman, 8 goals, 22 assists, 30 points. So that puts him fourth in team scoring. And then fifth is Calum Mangoni. He has 28 points to his credit. So this is a team with a lot of depth. And that's why I'm kind of wondering, would Saginaw maybe consider a bit of a soft sell? Because if you look at their draft cupboard, it's bare. They don't have a second round pick until 2028. So going into the 2025 draft, if they don't make any changes, if they don't sell off any players or acquire anybody, they only have they have two fourth round draft picks. So that's it from rounds 2 through 5, because in the OHL, you cannot trade your first round picks. So you have a first round pick, but then after that, 2 fourths, and then they don't pick again until the 6th round. They have 2 sevenths, nothing in the 8th. And then after that, 9 through 15, they have draft picks. So it's very bare with the Saginaw Spirit team. And even in 2026, they have their first round draft pick and then nothing until the 7th round. In 2027, they have their first round pick. They have a 3rd round pick from the Guelph Storm, and then they don't pick until the 6th round. So the draft cupboard, very bare. And that can be a little concerning for a team's future if they want to get back into the cycle, or you're going to be spending a few years potentially at the bottom, or your scouting department is going to have to be sensational. So with this report from Jeff Marek about Michael Misa and Boston University, would the Saginaw Spirit consider moving the top scorer in the Ontario Hockey League? I did the video yesterday talking about the Brampton Steelheads and how they look like they're turning it around, and expect them to add before the trade deadline. They have 5 second-round draft picks this summer and the following year. So if there's going to be a team that's going to go and make a splash for a player like Michael Misa or even Zane Parekh, look for the Brampton Steelheads if, in fact, the Saginaw Spirit look to sell. It's a very fascinating situation Saginaw is in, because they do have a lot of great talent. This team, they could win a round or 2 in the OHL playoffs, but do they have the strength to defeat London, Windsor, maybe Kitchener? That's the big question mark. And I think that's what management's probably going to be looking at between now and the OHL trade deadline is, can this roster as it is defeat the top teams in the Western Conference? Because adding is going to be very challenging. Like I said, they don't have a second round pick until 2028, and they don't have a 3rd round pick until 2027. So they're going to have to get very creative if they're going to look to add and try and enhance this lineup. Or I'm almost leaning towards this team potentially soft selling, not necessarily trading away Michael Misa or Zane Parekh, but they need to do something to address their draft cupboard. And I think just the report coming from Jeff Marek about Boston University expressing interest in Michael Misa kind of adds a little wrinkle ahead of the trade deadline that maybe this is something worth keeping a close watch on. That's how I see it from the booth. If you're a fan of the Saginaw Spirit, how do you view your team going forward? Do you think this team has what it takes to contend for the OHL title, or would you like to see your team maybe do a bit of a soft sell? Let me know in the comments section down below, and I appreciate all your support. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Talk to you again soon.